is that what made you say, looking at all these failed co-parenting relationships, is that something that made you say, you know what, there's a lane for people trying to do this the right way?
Very good question. So actually, no. It wasn't my own upbringing. It was my own failed relationship. So I am a co-parent, which is why I intimately understand what co-parenting is and why it's important. I didn't set out to be a co-parent. I had every intention of my relationship with my son's father being as successful as I could dream that it would be. And in my mind, that would have eventually meant marriage, or, that we would continue to be together, right? But it didn't happen that way. And what made me lean on the understanding of co-parenting, though, and knowing how to do it was my own upbringing. So my parents were never married. And I think if they did anything well, it was partnering to raise me. Everything outside of that is questionable.
Right.
But they showed up well for me.
Yeah.
And so when my relationship did not work in the way that I thought it would, I had that experience. I had that image of what it looked like for them to partner for me. So I held the belief. And in the midst of me doing that, friends and family and onlookers will say things like, dang, how are you doing it? Like, I know what you went through. If that happened to me, girl, I couldn't even be friends with them,
Right.
And to me, I just understood how important it was that my son had the support. And so it wasn't as much about our personal relationship or the intimate relationship with us as it was making sure that there was space for him to actually show up as a father.
Absolutely.
And when that started happening and people were seeing me work through that, they would just organically come and be like, okay, what should I say? What should I do? How did you work through this? And that's what helped me to understand that there was a lane.
Okay, so now for me, I feel like it takes a maturity level, right? Because what people aren't willing to, from my point of view, my perspective, is what people aren't willing to give up on is what that other person is doing and who they're doing it with. So it's like it's hard for you to let that person parent because either the mother or the father or maybe both are so worried about what's happening in their bedroom because they're not together anymore or whatever's going on, that it starts clouding the ability to be a parent. So one thing that I seen that I was hoping and praying I didn't get, because I didn't, and I was lucky enough to be able to co-parent with a woman who is very understanding and allowed me to be a parent and really honestly show me what it was to be a man, to take care of your responsibilities from day one. And she never was worried about what I was doing outside of taking care of my daughter. And I never worried about what she was doing outside of taking care of our daughter. But I think we were at a space when we parted ways to where we were ready to be in that space. And we were happy, but we knew what was most important was our daughter. But we still have love for each other, of course, but it's not that same kind of love. And we were able to say, I'm not worried. She tells me all the time, I'm not worried. That's your business.
Yep.
I just need you to take care of your child. And
100%.
vice versa. You know what I'm saying? So I was blessed to have that. A lot of people don't have that either on the man side or the female side. So it takes a level of maturity. I think the first thing you have to do is get the romantic feelings out the way.
That's real.
Get past that part. Because if you can get past that, not worry about what they're doing in their bedroom at night, then now we can actually start working on being parents.
Yes.
And that's usually the hard part, would you say?
I think, yes, you're right. When you are too worried about what the other person is doing in their life, but I think foundationally, the biggest piece about what makes co-parenting possible is when you legitimately know the person who you have a child with. If you took time to know that person, you have a friendship, you know them beyond what it meant to be intimate with them. Or I guess I would even say you know them intimately. Some people, it's just sex. And so then that is what you're focused on because you know how that person performs and you don't really want them doing that thing with somebody else.
No doubt.
That's what you're focused on. But if you actually intimately know the person you have a child with, you know deeper things about them and their ability to parent. So it's easier to focus then on, I know my child is safe. I know they're caring for my child. My child will be protected, and you can shift your thinking.
And that, I think, is where people have the hardest time.
They do.
So when you come in with couples, when couples come in and they're looking to you for guidance, is that usually the thing that's in the way a lot of time? Is they're worried, he had my daughter over at some big house, or you know what I'm saying,
Yep.
or he, or vice versa, or she got some nigga around my,
Yep.
it seems like we have to understand that. I feel like, me personally, like, if, like you said, if you know someone intimately, if you know that person, the last thing they're going to do is have your child in a situation where they're going to be harmed, or around people that are going to harm them. If you pick the right person. Now, if you pick the wrong person, that might be something you have to worry about,
Yep.
But if you picked a person that, for the right reason, this is why y'all had a child, you should kind of understand that they're not going to ever have your child in a bad position. And I think
That's
men
real.
and women use that as an excuse. I don't know where you, I want my baby over there and all that. And that's just getting in the way of helping the child.
Some of the big things that I see around why people are unable to co-parent is, of course, worrying about the new relationship. And I would almost say before that is finance. A lot of people think co-parenting means it's like a pay-to-play type of a situation. You have to be paying child support, you have to be caring for the child, you have to be doing something financially to the degree that I want you to, in order for me to then think that you're co-parenting. And it's all subjective. Each person thinks it's different. But I see the goalposts continuing to move based on money.
So at what point, how old would you say your wonderful son was that he just graduated college, was it?
No, he didn't graduate college yet. I wish he would.
Okay. It's coming up soon,
he's got 2 years of college under his belt.
Okay.
But he decided he didn't want to continue with college.
Okay.
So, but he's 23.
Oh, okay. All right. So at what age would you say that it kind of clicked for you and you
the
and his dad
co-parenting.
were, the co-parenting. You guys were kind of in cruise control. Like, okay, we got it now. We got the kinks out. We worked the bugs out, and here we are. We're kind of cruising.
Oh, I love that. That's like a really, really good question.
Thank you.
Because it's happened incrementally.
Okay.
At different stages of his life. We were cruise control, then you hit a bump.
Yeah.
Then, so I remember 5th grade for him was when it clicked for us that we were co-parenting effectively. We went to parent-teacher conferences, and the teacher made a comment and said, until our son stood up and read this essay in class, he didn't know that he didn't live at home with both of us. So the essay, he was just talking about how cool his weekend was with his dad. And the teacher was like, whoa, like you live with your dad on the weekends and your mom during the week? So we showed up at parent-teacher conferences, and he was like, I just wanted to acknowledge that I had no clue, because when I tell you something, he knows. You guys are always here together. And I remember literally walking to the parking lot, and we're getting ready to, go in our separate cars. And I stopped him and I was like, nigga, we made it. And he was like, wait, what? And I'm like, no, we made it.
Yeah.
Like, do you realize the teacher just told us that he didn't know we weren't together?
Yeah.
And then he kind of looked like, oh, like, fuck it. I guess we did make it, And I think that was the moment where we realized that it was seamless between us. But as our son started to grow and different things were happening in his life, we had to keep being willing to evolve. And I think that's another thing people forget.
Yeah.
It's never a cruise control.
Yeah.
You have to change your parenting style as your child gets older and as your child, develops and learns. And if you stay stuck, co-parenting is down the drain.
Absolutely.
So you got to keep growing with each other.
That is true, and that resonated with me when I first heard you say that. It really resonated with me because that exact same thing happened to me with my daughter. Was at a parent-teacher conference, and they told me that they didn't realize that she didn't live in a house with both of us because we're always in sync. We always know what's going on with her. she, you know, she comes to school every day. She's not, you know, like everything's just like, it seemed like it just came together, and the teacher commended us on that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like I really didn't know, you know, and you guys are doing a great job, because she doesn't, you know, show any signs of like, oh, I live in 2 separate houses, but she does, you know, and that is
I love
something
that.
that I think that a lot of people don't get to experience, and I want to commend you on helping people in this lane, because I think especially in our community, the Black community is a community where we really need to get this co-parenting thing together.
We do.
For our children, because it's a lot of it in our community, and all communities. I
Yep.
don't want to.
Yep.
I don't want to just put it on us, but
Yep.
that's the community I'm around most of the time, and I
Yeah.
see the effects of it.
Yeah.
And I see the effect of, you know, sometimey dads, and I see the effect of people not doing, you know, what they're supposed to do, because children are affected.
Yeah.
Children need both their parents. I know a lot of people think they can do it with just a strong mom or just a strong dad. You really need both your parents.
You do.
You need their input. You need their love. You need everything that a child needs to grow comes from a man and a woman. And, you know, to just for one person to have to bear that, I think is not good. And it's terrible that a lot of people use children as, you know, power plays
Yep.
towards parents. And how do you help people with that? Like, I know you probably deal with men that say, hey, she be using my child as a power play. If I don't do a certain thing, then all of a sudden I come to the house and nobody's there, I can't pick my child up,
Yes.
or whatever, you know, like how do you handle
Constantly.
that?
It's so a lot of the times I see that the child is being used as a pawn. Primarily, we see it happening against fathers, right? Like fathers are not being able to have access. And one of the things I want to point out is when you said that your daughter's mother allowed you to be a father. I think even that,
Yeah,
so many men think that they have to be allowed,
that's true.
right? And that's the way our world has conditioned us to believe that mothers are the primary care provider, and that dads, you know, just kind of get in where they fit in, or somebody has to welcome them in. And one of the things that we express at the Price Dynamic with fathers is that we believe in their inherent dignity to be a parent, you know? And so empowering them to have a voice, empowering them to know how to communicate is huge. A lot of men are not comfortable sharing